Hey, I'm back again. I'm going to talk about something that is really not that fun to talk about, but I've teased it in other videos. I said constantly in some other videos that, I'll talk about that later, I'll talk about that later. And what was I referring to? I was referring to some topics regarding my divorce. So I'm about 4 years separated slash divorced, and I can tell you in the beginning, it was actually really hard for me to talk about. But I feel like I am, although I'm very sad that it happened, I feel like I am pretty much healed from that. So I think I'm in a good headspace where I can talk about it. And so this video, I want to make a confession that people say women don't make. They don't talk about their role in the breakdown of the relationship. So I want to be as transparent as I can and talk about how I contributed to my marriage failing and ultimately the divorce. So before I jump into that, again, I just want to reiterate that I love being married. I love being a wife, love being a mother. I was very content as someone who was a married woman. I love staying at home, homeschooling my kids, being just like the ultimate super mom, and being what I believe, I believe I was a good wife. I still stand by that. However, this is the misstep that I took. For me, I didn't grow up with parents that were married. I didn't have in my immediate circle any examples of anyone that I knew that was married. And even when I was dating or going out with men, there was nobody who would say, Aja, this is how you properly vet someone for a relationship or for marriage. I never remember having that conversation with anyone. So when I felt like I was ready to be married, I remember dating a few people and saying, hey, I'm at a point where I just don't want to be dating. I just don't want to be someone's girlfriend. I actually want to be married. And I would say, most of the guys I encountered at the time were like, I'm not ready for that, which is fine. And there was one person who said, yeah, I do want to get married. And so I had this thought process that said, well, obviously no one would lie about that because there were so many people who had told me I'm not ready yet. So I thought the person who said that they wanted to get married and they wanted to be married, that they were telling the truth, and that they wanted, that was something that they wanted for their life. However, I now know that there are some people who may even be well-intentioned. Maybe they are like, I see that, around me, my parents were married, I see it on TV. I know maybe they have that as a genuine desire, but they haven't spent the time really equipping themselves to be a good mate or to be marriage material. And that's something that happens. Obviously, there are people who also lie about it too. They say they want marriage, but maybe the lie is that they're saying they want marriage for companionship, but maybe they want to take advantage for someone. The person I was married to, I don't know their particular motivation because we never had that conversation. But the point of the matter is, for me, I did not properly vet the person who told me that they wanted to get married. And to further complicate things, we actually were intimate before we got married. And so that further can cloud your vision. So when you get intimate with someone right away, and my therapist explained it to me, that you cause your relationship to be emotionally stunted. And so that combination of factors, me not vetting properly, not knowing how to vet properly, also being intimate before marriage, causes you to kind of ignore or dismiss red flags, because the Bible talks about the act of intimacy. You literally become one flesh when you make that step. So it's so much harder to discern the character and the events and circumstances going on around you if you're already fused as one flesh with someone. That's why I personally, I'm looking forward to marriage again, but I would not ever do the intimacy thing before marriage, because I need to have a clear head. I need to be very sober minded about the person that I'm dealing with. So that's going to be really important for the next time around. So the long and short of it is, I accept my role in the breakdown of the relationship. I actually married someone who did not want to be married, or if they did want to be married, they just didn't. They weren't marriage material. They didn't want to do the work to become marriage material. And again, I don't know their motivations, whether it was malicious or they thought they wanted to be married. They later changed their minds. I'm not sure, but the end result was they did not ultimately want to be in a relationship, and their actions and their attitudes confirmed that. Eventually, this person I was married to, they did leave, and I had to file divorce, because of that. So I will take my responsibility. I didn't vet properly. I didn't know how. And that's not even really a good excuse, because if I had just listened to the biblical command to save intimacy for marriage, then I would not have even had such a cloudy vision in the whole or a cloudy kind of perception of the whole situation in the first place. So, the Bible gives us some great safeguards to protect us, and all we have to do is obey. And I didn't do that. So I take my responsibility. I am, or I'll say I am being accountable, and I am recognizing the role that I played in the breakdown of my situation. I'm really sorry this happened in my world. I was going to be married for a long time, grow old with my partner, have grandkids, do the whole family reunion, all the holidays. I was really looking forward to that, but it didn't work out, because again, there was just such drastic incompatibility, because ultimately the person I was with, they did not want to be married, or maybe they didn't want to be married to me. Again, there's so many different variations of what the root reason was, but the kind of, I'll say symptomatic reasons. There's one root. The root was this person was not prepared. They weren't ready. They didn't want it like they maybe thought they wanted it, or they changed their mind. And so, again, I just want to say that I am partly to blame for this. So hopefully this helps somebody. This is, again, not to have some false humility and pretend like I'm so holier than thou. And it's really to help someone, because I've been posting these videos and people are saying that they've been encouraged. They thought maybe they were the only one in that situation. So hopefully someone will watch this and say, oh my goodness, that same thing happened to me. I don't feel so dumb. I don't feel so alone. I don't feel like I'm the only one going through this. So, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the circumstances surrounding the divorce and topics pertaining to divorce, because I was a little Pharisee before I got divorced as well. So there's a lot of misconceptions and myths floating around out there about divorce, why it happens, what are the lifelong ramifications, all that stuff. And it causes people to feel pretty alone, solitary, and it can discourage people. And I talk about divorce because it does directly tie into your finances. Going through divorce pretty much destroyed my finances, my financial stability in some ways. By the grace of God, I am back on track. I'm very stable now. I'm thankful for that. But your relationships matter, and they do have a direct effect on your finances and on your money. So I'm gonna weave that into the conversation a little bit as I do these videos. Anyway, I've been talking long enough. So hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully you were encouraged. I want to encourage you to check out some of the links below. Make sure you like the video, share it, subscribe, and thanks again for listening.